Happy Hump Day! It is time to talk Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back into another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven. What a wild Game 1 in the Eastern Conference. Holy freaking smokes. The Celtics got extremely lucky, and the Pacers choked the game away after playing so well. It was not what I expected, but you know what? I should know that a team like the Celtics, who lack leadership, who I make fun of all the time for that, is not going to be able to cover a 10-point spread. They should have lost the game outright. That was absolutely insane. Kudos to the Indiana Pacers for playing like they did for the 8th game in 15 days. Just absolutely insane. But Jaylen Brown bailed them out. You guys all saw it. It was crazy. But now it's time to talk Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals between the Mavericks and the Timberwolves. I do have to say this. I'm on about 3 hours of sleep, so excuse me if I'm a little, all over the place, but just wanted to warn you. But quick reminder, MLB Best Bets video will be out after this video, so go check that out. We're giving out a ton of research help, as you guys know, and we got some day baseball tomorrow or on Wednesday, so that's going to be exciting. So I'm ready to dig into this game, dig into the series, but before we do all that, it's time for a dad joke, and I will say, this is another one from my wife, so you're probably going to like it because hers seemed to be a little better. So here we go. Dad joke. I put up a high voltage electric fence around my property over the weekend, but my neighbor's dead against it. That's pretty good. Not going to lie. Me and her laughed about that when we talked about it. But anyways, in this video, we're going to recap yesterday, which sucked, but they were 2 half-unit plays, so we lost 1 unit. We can get over that, but I'm sick of it. It is time to start freaking winning, that's for sure. But that's why I put a half unit on those plays. But we'll recap that, and then we'll talk the best matchups for Game 1. Not the best matchups, just matchups in general, some stats and what happened during the regular season meetings and things like that, just like we did in the Eastern Conference. And then we're going to preview the game and give you our best bet for Game 1 between Dallas and Minnesota. And then we wrap it all up with a bets recap. So hit that like button, leave a comment below. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as we are so close to 25,000 subscribers. Whether I'm on a hot streak or a cold streak, I cannot thank you guys enough. You loyal supporters watch these videos day in and day out, who hit the like button, who comment every day. It means a lot, and it's the reason we want to keep grinding and building this channel. So we appreciate it, but let's get started, and that means the recap. All right, let's talk about these 2 half-unit plays. Celtics -10. Well, we just talked about it. They shouldn't have even won the game. I wish the Pacers won. I mean, at that point, seriously, they played. They were deserving to win that game, but they just blew it. I could not believe the careless turnovers that they had. The game in general was sloppy. It was a fun game to watch, but it was sloppy, and the Pacers I just cannot believe they lost them. Now, I don't know how they're going to come back from it. That's going to take resilience, that's for sure, but you cannot lose Game 1 like that on the road when you have a chance to steal one. But either way, Celtics -10, they won by 5 in overtime or something like that. But this second one I added for a half unit. I had a couple to pick from. Jaylen Brown, 20-plus points. That hit. His over 24.5 points hit as well. I think overtime and the 3-ball obviously all helped it. Halliburton under 3.5 threes. He came out on fire. He was just absolutely on fire. Went over this, I think, by the second quarter, maybe his third quarter, but it wasn't even close. So that was just a terrible read. I thought the Celtics were good at defense. That's my fault. The Pacers are just a really good offensive team, and he just shot the lights out. So that's a loss. Again, we lost 1 unit or just over a unit with some juice. We'll get over that, but I got to get back on track, and I'm ready to do that. So that's a playoff record. That's a regular season record. Before we get into the preview and the best bet for the game, let's talk the matchups. All right, we start with the Dallas Mavericks matchups. I'm going to do it just like last time. I'm going to give you 3 main players and kind of give you some info on it. I will say this, in this series, these matchups, I don't know how much they're going to mean because these guys played 4 games against each other, but a lot of the stars were out in some of these games. So let's start with Mr. Luka against the T-Wolves. Minnesota gave up the 5th fewest rebounds and 10th fewest assists to the point guard position during the regular season. Luka, he averaged 36.5 points, 10.5 assists, and 6 rebounds in only 2 games that he played against them. So they played a total of 4 games. Luka only played in 2 of those. Now, Mr. Kyrie Irving. Minnesota gave up the fewest points and the fewest assists to shooting guards during the regular season. But Kyrie, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how much the shooting guard thing matters to Kyrie. He plays a lot of point guard. You just know Kyrie's a stud. But Kyrie had 35 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists in only 1 of the 4 games that he played against the T-Wolves. And then Derek Lively versus the T-Wolves. We saw Derek Lively take over. He's obviously playing better than Daniel Gafford. That's a no-brainer. I'd be shocked to see Gafford play more minutes than him. Lively, especially in Game 7, that was really impressive by him. Or Game 6, sorry, last round. Minnesota, though, gave up the fourth fewest rebounds to centers during the season. We know Gobert down there. They're a really good team in regards to not allowing offensive rebounds and things like that. But Lively played 2 of the 4 games versus Minnesota. But it was kind of, it's all minutes related. He played 15 minutes in one of the games. He only had 2-4-2 line and 32 minutes in another one where he had 15 points and 6 rebounds. So again, I don't know how much these are going to help you because there wasn't a ton of games played by these superstars. But that's the Mavericks. Let's go check out the T-Wolves now. And here's pretty much the main 3. Let's start out with Anthony Edwards. Dallas, they were average giving up points to shooting guards, but they did give up the third most rebounds to the shooting guard position this year. Edwards played all 4 games because he's a gamer and barely misses any games. But Edwards averaged 24.5 points, 5 boards, and 5.8 assists in the 4 games versus Dallas. And then Karl Anthony Towns. Dallas gave up the 11th most points, 12th most rebounds to power forwards, kind of in the middle right there, average, nothing huge. Cat averaged 21, 10, and 2.5 in 4 games versus Dallas this season. And then the final one, the big man, the Frenchman, Rudy Gobert versus the Mavericks. Dallas has been about average for everything. There wasn't much to put here. Average for points, rebounds, and assists given up to centers. Obviously, assists are not going to matter for Gobert that much. Gobert averaged 13.5 points, 11.5 boards, and 2 dimes in the 4 games versus Dallas this season. So those are the matchups on both teams. Hopefully, at least gets you a little head start, like what stats they have if against Dallas or against Minnesota. Again, these are just to kind of help you quicken your process. I know people don't have all day to research bets and all that kind of stuff, so that's what these are meant for. So as we get in the season, the series, we'll talk more potential assists, rebound chances, and how these games are going and things like that. So that's what we got for the matchups. And now it's time to talk Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. All right, this segment of the show is brought to you by our sponsor, Better Bet. That's BTR Bet, the best place to find, track, analyze, and share your bets. Click that link below in the description and go check it out. And there's no better time than now. As you guys know, use the promo code JABO. You get 30 days free to try this out. And this is a very unique site, guys. You don't see it a lot of places. It's going to help you track all your bets, sync to sports books, etc., etc. There's so much to it. So go check it out. You got nothing to lose with that JABO promo code. So click that link. But here we go. This game takes us out to Minnesota for Game 1. We got the T-Wolves hosting the Dallas Mavericks. Minnesota -4. With a total of 208. Just quick notes, so I'll get right into the bet. But T-Wolves won 3 of the 4 meetings this year. But like you saw earlier, a lot of stars were out for Dallas, including Kyrie, who played 1 game. Luka played 2 of the 4 games. And these two teams, they've been really similar in regards to playoff numbers. Obviously, they've had different type of opponents and things like that. But pace-wise, they're pretty much identical on the same pace. Defensively, Mavs giving up 35.4% shooting from their opponent from 3. Minnesota 35.7, again similar. Mavs giving up 42 points per game in the paint in the playoffs. Minnesota giving up 42.2 points per game. So Mavericks have been playing some good defense. Surprisingly, we all know Minnesota can play good defense. They've been doing it all season long. So there's going to be some interesting matchups to see, especially, the whole Gafford Lively, who's going to be playing. Will Lively be as impactful? Now he's going to be going up against Gobert, Cat, and these boys. So my best bet is a bet that you're not going to like. It's going to make you roll your eyes because I know he's burned people in the past. Give me Kyrie Irving over 29.5 PRAs at -130 on DraftKings. Now, I know this is going to be scary, but I will say this about the lines. It's all over the place. 29.5, like I just told you, is -130 on DraftKings right as of recording this video. If it changes, I don't know what to tell you. I like it at 30.5 still. But I've seen it at 31.5 on FanDuel also right before we recorded. So it's a couple point PRA spread. So it's a big difference. That's why it's always important to have multiple sports books. Again, go check out all those promotions in the description for all those. But the season numbers that we just showed versus the T-Wolves showed that they gave up the fewest points to shooting guards. But like I mentioned, it doesn't matter that much to me because it's going to be more matchup based, and Kyrie handles the ball a lot as a point guard. So that's not a big deal. But I think Minnesota knows their number one goal. They have to slow down Luka. And in this series, it's going to be a little bit different than OKC. I think they're, the best defender, first of all, Jaden McDaniels, who I think is one of the best defenders, if not the best on-ball defenders in the NBA. And now he's going to be guarding Luka, which means Kyrie is going to have the better matchup. I expect it's going to be a matchup based in what I think is going to play out. Obviously, these coaches are doing their strategies. We don't know. We're not a part of the meetings, but I think Kyrie's going to be going up mostly against guys like Ant and Mike Conley. And listen, Anthony Edwards has improved on defense. I will say that, but Anthony Edwards is not a guy who's going to want to check Kyrie Irving. He's going to want to stay out of foul trouble. He is there for offense. Let's face it. But he has played better defense. And the aging veteran Mike Conley, who's played pretty well, but he's not a guy who can even come close to keeping up with Kyrie Irving. So I think he's going to be given some more opportunities. You saw the one game in the regular season for what it's worth. You know, he had 35 points. He just had a ton of PRAs and it wasn't even close. But the Mavs, I just think if they're going to need to continue, and this is going to be the hardest defensive challenge they've faced so far in the playoffs. Now they're facing Minnesota. They're going to need help. This cannot just be Kyrie or Luka carrying them to the finals because it's not OKC. It's not these other teams who have been decent defensively, but Minnesota is a different animal. Kyrie is going to have to step up his game. And he's a guy who's not afraid of the spotlight, obviously. He's done this before. He's also a person who can score 25. He can get close to this with points. He could give you, 8 to 10 assists. He can do a lot of different things. So I like PRAs because it has a lot more opportunity. But obviously, I think he goes over his points as well. But I just think 29.5 is a tick too low. He's averaging a little over 31 PRAs in the playoffs right now. I think he's going to have a lot of usage. I think they're going to count on him a little bit more. We will see. Hopefully we don't get some Kyrie dud 7-point game or anything like that, but I don't think we're going to see as many of those kind of games. I know it's going to be against this good defense, but like I said, he will have the better matchup. Luka's going to have a little bit tougher go, but again, it's Luka. He's going to be fine. He's still going to get some of his. But anyways, that's my best bet. My 1-unit play, Kyrie Irving over 29.5 PRAs at -130. And that's what I got for you. I don't have any leans or anything like that. Like I mentioned, I'm just trying to get through this video because I got to get some sleep. But I'll get some leans out, and if I have an added play, which I may, maybe a half unit or something like that, I'll get it out. But if I had to pick a side, I'd probably lean Minnesota at home -4. But that's not a lean or official play or anything right now. So that's what I got. Let's check out the recap. All right, there it is. The one and only play. Kyrie Irving over 29.5 PRAs at -130 on DraftKings. Like I said, it's been anywhere from 29.5 to 31.5 as of recording. I like it at 30.5 as well. 31.5, I mean, you're probably looking at a half unit for me at that one. But that's the only bet we got. It's time to get a freaking winner. This is a 1-unit play. We're back to those. I'm sick of losing. Even whether it's a quarter unit play, half unit play, I don't care. I am ready to start winning. Get back on that hot streak like we were earlier in the playoffs. So leave me a comment below. Let me know what your best bet is for this game one. Who you like, Minnesota or Dallas. Player props you like, parlays, whatever it is. Some of you guys have been leaving some pretty good plays, and I've been tailing them, and it's worked out. So we appreciate it. It's all about the community. It's us versus the book. So, but I appreciate the support. Again, if you haven't already, hit that like button. But I hope everyone has a great Wednesday, and we'll talk to you soon.